The favorite at 2 to 1.
Terrible bet
on
at 3 to
paper.
1.
I love the odds of it.
So who are we all picking this field that is not a good bet?
They're off.
Hi, everybody. Dan Illman, Mike Beer for Breeders' Cup Focus. We're going to take a look at the top 10 contenders for the Breeders' Cup Turf as ranked in morning line odds order by Daily Racing Form's Brad Free preliminary morning line. I mean, the pre-entries were just taken. But before we get to the list, remember that the Breeders' Cup Betting Challenge is going to be going on at Del Mar during the Breeders' Cup, November 1st and 2nd. $1.25 million, the cash prize for this year's BCBC. Register today, breederscup.com/BCBC. And if you're trying to get into the BCBC, and you are into the BCBC, the Classic's going to be an important piece of the puzzle, because this year, the Classics is race number 8 on Saturday. It kicks off a pick 5, and it's the anchor leg of a pick 5. Potential for huge payouts. Tickets, of course, still available for the Breeders' Cup. Great experience in San Diego. Del Mar, just such a lovely track. breederscup.com for more information. Let's take a look at the field for the Breeders' Cup Turf. Again, as ranked by Brad Free's morning line odds, these are the top 10. Go to DRF.com/Breeders' Cup for more information on all of the pre-entries and the latest news and notes. Rebels Romance won this race in 2022, Mike Beer. He is back for more. He's 5-2 on Brad's morning line. Here he is winning the Breeders' Cup Turf 2 years ago.
Yeah, really, really good in this race. He came in, he shipped over for this race, Dan. This was his stateside debut. Just a really strong performance, powering this field down with a 107 buyer. Didn't really, get a huge campaign in last year, Dan. Things just didn't seem like they went right for him, but he's been right back on track this year. 4 for 5. The only loss 2 back against the streaking Goliath and the recent ARC winner.
And he got the prep last time out, the same prep he utilized before winning the 2022 Breeders' Cup Turf, winning a Group 1 in Germany at 1.5 miles. It just appears he's back in best form, and I think this year he catches a field that he certainly can handle on his best day. Second on the list is from France. That's J.R. Reb, 5-1 on Brad's morning line. This guy's stepping up in class, Mike, a Group 2 winner in France, also stepping up in distance, has yet to go 1.5 miles.
Yeah, 3-year-old, still very lightly raced. He clearly has some talent, and he's putting together a pretty nice 3-year-old campaign so far. The loss 2 back, he was only second best in that Group 2, but to a really good horse in economics. Bounced out of that really determined victory last time.
Shahryar has Breeders' Cup Turf experience, third in this race last year at Santa Anita. He is 0 for 3 since, but here's his start 2 starts back. This is the Dubai Shima Classic, where he is following the cover of Rebels Romance into the stretch. He's merely second best.
Yeah, I mean, listen, he runs fine in here, Dan, but he's no match for the really good Rebels Romance, who he's going to have to deal with again at Del Mar on Breeders' Cup Saturday. This horse, we'll see. It's a very light campaign so far as a 6-year-old, Dan. Only a couple of starts. This race that we're watching now back in March, he's only started once since then. So they've really taken it easy on him this year.
And that was not a good performance in the Sapporo Kinen last time out. This guy did win the Japan Derby in 2021, but he has yet to win a race since the 2022 Dubai Shima Classic. And he's coming into this race, I think, in somewhat questionable form. You don't question the form of Far Bridge. He is in the form of his career, and he's the best North American trained candidate for this year's Breeders' Cup Turf. Let's watch Far Bridge end the streak of the popular mare Warlike Goddess. She's looking for a 3-peat in the Joe Hirsch Turf Classic. Far Bridge up the inside, just outfinishes Warlike Goddess.
Yeah, absolutely. The trip does really work out for him here, but you know what, Dan? At the end of the day, he's just best in this race, handling a little cut in the ground in this spot too. Really good performance. He's been a little bit of he's been a good horse right along. He's been a little bit of a surprise through the summer and into the fall now. They've stretched him out in distance. He's handled it really, really well.
Illinois is 5th on our list, a son of Galileo. This horse is a true stayer. He's never been off the board from 9 starts. His most recent win came into Group 2 going 1 7/8 miles. I really have some questions still about his overall class. Is he the ability of Rebels Romance at a horse like 1.5 miles?
He's got a lot to prove, that's for sure. But he's another 3-year-old. He's still lightly raced. You could project improvement for him, as opposed to some of the others. You don't have to worry about distance with this horse. He'll go all day, and he's very, very well connected.
Luxembourg's going to stretch back out. Maybe the distance was a little bit too short, and the Irish champion last time out didn't run very well behind Goliath, but of course, that was a tough field. Goliath is a superstar, and Blue Stocking, the runner-up, came back to win the Arc. But Rebels Romance was also third in that King George VI and Queen Elizabeth. Luxembourg just wasn't as good as Rebels Romance that day.
He wasn't. He's a really talented horse, though, Dan. There's another horse. They ran him. They shipped him over to Dubai to shoot for that big purse over there. He did not run well in that race. They gave him plenty of time out of there. He's come back okay. I mean, his last 2 starts aren't great, but he did win a Group 1 right off the layup. This horse is talented. Might get overlooked a little bit here.
Next, first preference is the Breeders' Cup Classic. If he doesn't get in there, he runs here. Emily Upjohn and Wingspan, their first preference, the filly and mare turf. So let's talk a little bit about Gold Phoenix, who's a local hope, a very solid horse that really loves Del Mar. He's won 4 races here. He ran really well in the Breeders' Cup Turf last year to be 4th at $1,000,000 to 1. He's a likable horse. He's probably not of the caliber of a Rebels Romance, but he'll give you an honest try at a price.
Yeah, and it's nice that he's, he gets to, sort of race right at Del Mar and don't have to ship him for this race. That can be an advantage. As you point out, he did run maybe the best race of his life in the Breeders' Cup Turf last year, but he's just up against horses like this, especially with his running style, Dan. He has to pass a lot of good horses in the stretch.
Remember to head on over to drf.com/Breeders' Cup for all of the pre-entries and the latest news and notes on the Breeders' Cup Turf. As of right now, Rebels Romance, the 2022 Breeders' Cup Turf winner, coming into this year's race very sharp, could be the horse to beat.
Hey friends, you look like you're in need of a winner. If you enjoyed the great content right here, just click and subscribe right here and enjoy the great DRF.com Race of the Days, the phenomenal stakes previews, and so much more. Many of that content featuring me and my exceptional selections. Trust me, you won't regret it.